Bankruptcy to 10K months. I want to share with you how I turned my life around in 2 years. So where now I'm well, not just financially, but I'm well emotionally, mentally, and physically. So what I found out though, guys, I'm going to share 4 lessons that I learned over the 2 years. What I found out though is that 80% of what I've applied in my life is all spiritual. It has been spiritual work, inner work, work that you don't see. It's been the intangible work. And the rest, the other 20%, has been what I have actually put forth. And so I want to share those 4 lessons in this video. So let's jump in right now. Okay, so the first lesson that I had to learn was about spirituality. I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about spirituality. So I believe that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. What I understand about this universe, about us being here, we're human beings on this planet, and it's like, what are we really doing here? We're all going every which way, doing our things, and the world is moving and turning, and things are getting built, and we're progressing forward. But sometimes in that progression we can get lost. What I had to understand was the spiritual laws of the universe. Heaven's first law is order. Understanding that there's an order about everything that happens on this planet, in the universe, is what we need to know in our heart and really live by in order to optimally have the life that we desire. There are spiritual laws that govern this universe. For example, gravity. Now we know what gravity is, right? We know that it is something that we cannot see, but we know it works. Suspend an object in mid-air and release it and see what happens. It will go down. It will not float away. Gravity also plays a part in space as well. Zero gravity, and so therefore you suspend an object in space and let it go, it'll float away. So gravity is active all the time. That is a spiritual law. There are several spiritual laws that we should know, but one that I want to focus on today, because I feel like it had the most impact in my life as far as turning my life around, was the law of cause and effect. This law says for every effect there is a cause. Sowing and reaping. What you sow, you shall reap. So it's the same concept. But what I really want you to understand is that what this is saying is that everything that you see on this planet, everything that you experience, whether it's an experience, a situation, a result, whatever, a thought, or whatever it might be, there is an origin. And that origin happens in the spiritual realm. It starts in the spiritual realm and then it moves to the physical realm. What we have been accustomed to see and experience and believe in our lives is that everything that we see comes from a manufacturer. Like this chair that I'm sitting in, this building, someone had to make it and they put it together with hammers and welding machines, whatever, nails and screws, whatever it was, and voila, you have it. But this chair that I'm sitting in, this condo that I live in, had to start well before the manufacturer. It started as an idea, as a thought. Okay, so that goes into my second lesson. I want you to ponder about that, to really think about everything that you see, everything that you can touch, smell, see, hear, taste, started in the spiritual realm. That might be a foreign, very foreign idea for you, but begin to adopt this, because this is the beginning of being able to transform your life to what you desire it to be. Then I go into the second lesson that I learned. So if everything has an origin, as an example, what was the origin for the reason why my life, the results that I was seeing in my life, the reason why my life turned out the way it did? Now, I can always say that it was because of my mama did this, my daddy wasn't there, this and that, and the teacher, the co-worker. That wasn't why I was experiencing the bankruptcy in my life. The reason why I was experiencing the bankruptcy was because of me. The cause of everything that I experienced in my life was because of my attitude. My attitude towards life. My attitude towards myself, my attitude towards what was happening in my life. That was the cause of my going bankruptcy. I could have blamed it on my husband. I could have blamed it on my dad. I could have blamed it on my mom not being there. I could have blamed it on this person guiding me, misguiding me. But at the end of the day, it was me and my attitude. Let me explain a little bit more. I can hear some of you already saying, no, that's not the case. You can argue that it was your mama, it was your daddy, it was so-and-so, it was the neighbor, it was you not having what you needed, it was you started at 0 when other people had a head start at step 10. I want you to hear me out, because this is going to change your life. Every moment you have a choice. Now, I know it might be, well, how can I have a choice when I have my father who is ill and my siblings don't want to help me, but I have to be here to help him? How can I have an exciting life when I'm stuck here having to help them? That's not my fault. They're not helping me. I can't leave them. Can I? Are you suggesting that I leave him? Every moment you have a choice. I know that's a hard pill to swallow. But have you ever heard the saying, no one's holding a gun to your head? This is your choosing. This is what you've decided that you would do. You've also decided that because you're doing that, your life cannot be exciting. There's so many options that you can choose, meaning you can exercise free will. You can choose consciously what you desire. But the problem is, most of us are unconsciously choosing. Our lives are habitual, so it's difficult for us to see that my attitude is actively choosing. It is the cause for my effect. It is the cause for how my life is right now. The second lesson is I had to learn to be responsible for my choices, be responsible for the result of my life, how my life has turned out. If my life is boring, it's because of me. It's not because I'm taking care of my father who needs me because my siblings aren't there. So who else is going to take care of him? And if I don't take care of him, then he'll die. Not because of the external situations. It's because you have decided that that's what you're going to do. And that's what it's going to look like. And it's become so much of you that you have no idea of how to get out of that. You're just doing it because it's become rote. This is what you know how to do. This is what you're going to do. And for you, it seems like there is no other way out. This is what it is, and this is all it is. And so therefore, my life is boring. But that is your attitude. The attitude is a way of thinking and feeling. Your attitude is your frame of mind or state of mind, your perspective, the way that you see the world, the way that you see yourself. It's your beliefs, your convictions, your opinions, your proclivities, just the things, your inclinations, the things that you just move and take action on, the things that you just naturally do because it's just you. The thing about it is, it's become you so much that you don't know that there can be something different. You don't know where to draw the line and say, okay, this is me, this is not me. This is who I am, this is not what I want. And when you decide that you don't want it and you try to change it, then you see that you're still doing the same thing over and over again because it's habitually you. I had to be responsible for the way my life turned out. So for example, I always was the type who didn't want to regret my life at the end of my life. I don't know where it came from. That's just something about me. I've always been that person who's like, I don't want to regret my life. Or even at 50, I was like, when I turn 50, I don't want to be the one that's saying I regret I didn't do this or that or whatever. I want to do it all. But my attitude was one of blaming. I had spent the last 10 years blaming my dad for misguiding me in my career as a young adult, where I knew I didn't want to be a chemical engineer. I'd rather have been a psychologist, but I went along with what my dad had said. And then now, fast forward, I was laid off, and 10 years later, I'm 42, and nothing to show for it. Nothing to show for myself. I had spent the last 10 years blaming my dad for what he had done. And those 10 years went by and was wasted energy. Because that was what I focused on. That was the attitude that I had about life and my dad and how he guided me as a young adult entering into college. That's the attitude I had towards life, and that's the attitude that I had towards my dad. And that attitude was what got me 10 years of inactivity, of not doing anything. And the funny thing about it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because when I turned 40, I regretted my 30s. I was just like, I didn't do anything. It was a wake-up call. I didn't do anything. What happened? I mean, I had my 3 babies, yes, and I'm grateful. That's a blessing. That is a blessing in itself. And I know, there can be some moms out there that say, well, that's all you need to do. But I'm not that type. I was always the type that was driven, that always wanted more, that always had a goal, that was always moving forward towards something bigger and better. And so for those 10 years that I wasn't moving or doing anything, I mean, I was just, I was nibbling, dibbling, dabbling and all kinds of stuff. But I just did not stick with anything. I didn't move forward. I didn't progress. My 20s was all of that. Like I was buying properties, becoming a landlord, property owner, had money coming in, it was just flowing in. But when I got into my 30s, everything turned around just for the worst for me. After I got laid off at 32, I think it was 32, things just went downhill over those the next 10 years. And so I spent those years blaming instead of doing something about what I wasn't pleased about, instead of finding the solution, right? So once I became responsible, I started taking responsibility and accountability for the way my life turned out. The third lesson that I learned was the law of attraction. Your self-concept creates. So it's funny how I go back to that comment that I made about a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's funny how I decided that I didn't want to have any regrets about life. And that's exactly what I ended up having, because I was trying my best not to have that. Learning that my self-concept is what creates was a game changer for me. Ever heard the saying, you attract who you are or what you are, not what you want? We can want all the things, but if we are not in alignment with that person who has that thing, we will never get that thing. We will always get what in who we are. If somebody would have asked me when I was a child or a young adult, did I want to have the 10 years of no activity in my life? Of course I would have said no. I wouldn't have chose that. That wouldn't have been my answer. Like, no, who wants 10 years of not doing anything, of a bored, mundane, dull life? But in all honesty, that was who I was being. That's exactly the person that I was being. Those 10 years was characterized by a person who did not believe in herself. Someone who lost all personal power in herself and the confidence to dream, to even take action on those dreams. Someone who was depressed and still putting on a happy face, still people-pleasing and self-sabotaging, hoping to be discovered or saved. I was a victim. I played that victim. That type of person that I was being wasn't the type of person that was going to take life straps and take action on the things that she desired. No, I moped. I moped around. So yeah, no opportunities came to me. Nothing really ever worked out for me. I wasn't a lucky person. I wasn't that girl. No one ever looked at me. No one ever was inspired by my life and what I did. So I realized this. I realized this for my life, and I wanted to change. I set out to be different than that, to improve the self-concept that I had of myself. And let me say, the best way to do this is to keep it simple. So simple as possible. For example, be the person that you want to be right here, right now. If you want to be more confident, be that. Be more confident. Don't wait. Don't make any excuses. Don't feel like you have to do this and do that in order. Just do it now. Be that right now. Don't say that, oh, I can't do that right now because I can't talk. Well, first of all, watch your words, because you're talking, right? So that's not a true statement. That's a false statement. You can talk. Maybe in comparison to her, you can't talk eloquently, and watch that as well. The comparison thing. Compare to improve, but do not get to the point to where you're belittling yourself into inaction. So you see something that someone else is doing, you want to mimic that as well. You mimic that by improving yourself, but don't allow what they're doing to say anything or disqualify you or not validate who you are. You are still valuable, whether you have that skill or don't have that skill. You are valuable. But it's good that you know that being eloquent is just a skill. It's something that you train yourself to do. So go get training. And training can look like watching YouTube videos and practicing as frequently as you can. Every moment that you get a chance, practice. We've all heard the saying, practice makes perfect, or practice makes better. But it requires that first step, which takes me into the fourth lesson that I learned. That first step and the ability to keep the momentum going, to keep going in that, requires knowing and trusting the law of cause and effect. Faith that what it promises happens. So we're going back full circle, back to the first thing. Believing and trusting that what the law of cause and effect says and promises happens. If you know that the origin of everything that is manifested started as an idea or a thought that is spiritually, then everything that I imagine is real. I can say it already exists. If it's real in the imagination, then it's real in 3D. That means it's real in the physical realm. You must decide it is so, and that is that. Have you ever heard the saying, let your yeses be yes and your no's be no? You cannot go back and forth between who you were and who you are becoming. You must decide that you have already became. In the moment, I would ask the question, what would confident Angela do in the moment? Would she say no to the opportunity? Or would she stand in her composure, scared as shit, and say, hell yes? This is what we call faith in action. Not just action, because it matters the way you do a thing, and not just faith, because this is not wishful thinking. It's faith and action that keeps the momentum going until the thing that you desire manifests, until the self-concept that you desire to have manifests. So the self-concept is, I'm talking about if you need to show up as a confident person because you are this influencer, you're wanting more excitement in your life, then that means you might go salsa dancing, but then people are going to look at you, and then if they look at you, then you're going to feel insecure. But you have yes, and yes. You don't know how to salsa dance, but you show up confident that you can learn, and you will be sexy when you do it. And so as you're stepping, you feel yourself being sexy and confident. Maybe you look like a horse that just came out of mama's belly, but at the same time, and you're tripping over people's feet, but at the same time, you feel confident, you feel sexy. And the more that you do that, and faith, and taking the action to show up to this salsa class, the more confident you become, the more sexy you become, the more you show up in your world, the better your relationship flourishes. Then you see that the money starts flowing in because you start showing up. I don't know what your job, you might show up more, sensual at your, I'm not going to say that. That's a whole nother video. I'll hold off on that one. Anyways, you'll start seeing that you are confident before you even become confident. But the thing about it is, you are confident because the moment, right here, right now, you're saying, I am confident. And the thing about manifesting a new self-concept, a new person, showing up as a new person, is it requires you to show up confident multiple times, many steps. And then one day you wake up and you realize, like, wait a minute, I am confident. I don't even know when that happened, because all of those many times you were showing up as a confident person. And maybe that very first time you're pretending, and you faking it till you make it. But every time you do it, you're getting better and more comfortable with it and familiar with what it feels like to be confident. So that when it comes to the point you wake up and you're like, wait a minute, I am so freaking confident. It's because it's so familiar to you. It's so habitual for you. It's so you. It's your natural way of being that you didn't even realize that you had embodied the confidence fully without having to think about it. I'm confident that this helped you become more aware, and this is going to help you start your transformation journey. So if that is the case and you found value in this video, do give this video a like. And if you have not subscribed yet, what you waiting for? Go ahead and do that, because I want to continue to feed you more of this, more of what it means to become the woman that you so much desire. It is my hope and dream that I can give every woman that is watching the permission to be who she desires to be. And so as you continue to listen to this content, you will begin to embody that more and more. So you want to be able to stay in this energy, in this community, and learn those things that can help you be that person. Learn those things that can help you be that person faster. All right. I love you so much. Until the next time. Bye.